The wife of an accountant had been unable to stand for about a year when Mikao Usui followed his student to treat her. After treating the sick woman's lower back for a little over 20 to 30 minutes with Reiki, Usui asked her to get up. His student thought that was absurd because she had been bedridden for a year. However, to his surprise, as soon as she agreed, she was able to stand upright. Usui then asked her to start walking, and she was able to walk around the room, leaning her hand on her husband's shoulder for support. It seemed like a true miracle. Mikao Usui, 1865 to 1926, is the founder of the most popular energy healing method in the world right now, known as Reiki. It is used as an alternative therapy for the treatment of physical, emotional, and mental diseases. He was born on August 15, 1865, in Teinai Village, the present-day Yamagata City, in the Yamagata district of the Gifu Prefecture, Japan. He had an older sister and 2 younger brothers. His ancestors were the once influential Chiba clan, who were Hatamoto samurai warriors, very active in the Heian to Kamakura period, 8th to 14th century. Today, one of the Japanese prefectures is called Chiba Prefecture after this samurai clan. In 1551, one of his ancestors, Tashitain Chiba, conquered the city Usui, and thereafter all family members acquired that surname. From a young age, Usui was raised as a samurai, specifically in the martial arts techniques of Aiki. He was sent to a Buddhist monastery to start his education around 4 years old, where he took a keen interest in psychology, medicine, and various religions from around the world. Before Japan's rough period of isolation from the Western world, Mikao Usui managed to travel to Europe, America, and China, learning about Western cultures and civilizations. By adulthood, Usui had become fluent in English, Chinese, and Sanskrit. He also became a doctor in Japanese literature and was well acquainted with Taoist hermit arts, divination using sticks, physiognomy, and even the use of magical arts. Usui worked in various professions, including as a civil servant, corporate employee, businessman, newspaper reporter, and secretary to a politician. Usui married Sadako Suzuki and had a son and a daughter. His spirituality truly began after a near-death experience in 1900 when he fell seriously ill during an epidemic. This event prompted deep reflection on his life. He delved into the study of esoteric Buddhist holistic healing and developed an interest in the teachings of spiritual healers. Ancient stories, particularly those that spoke of the Buddha's healing abilities, inspired him. Despite extensive travels across Japan in search of the key to healing, he found no answers, discovering from monks that this skill had been lost through the ages. Despite being expelled by his family due to disagreements over his decision, he followed the advice of a priest and became a Shingon Buddhist, engaging in extensive Zen practice. His initial realization in Zen was the concept of Anjin Ryumyo: humans should exert themselves to the fullest, relinquishing control over things beyond their grasp, and attain a peaceful state of mind without worries. However, after 3 more years of Zen practice, he felt stuck and unable to progress to the next stage of enlightenment. Seeking guidance from his teacher, he received an unconventional response, "Then try to die once." These words shook him to the core, leading him to decide to truly experience what death meant. In the spring of 1922, he embarked on a strict fasting and meditation retreat for 21 days at the holy mountain of Kurama in Kyoto. During this period, Usui found 21 small stones, placing them in front of himself. Each day, he discarded 1 stone while engaging in fasting, meditation, reading holy texts, and singing. Nothing remarkable occurred until the dawn of the 21st day when he witnessed a shining light approaching him. Growing larger until it struck the center of his forehead, his third eye, he experienced a great white light, accompanied by rare Sanskrit symbols glowing in gold. These symbols would later become the attunement symbols used to attune others to the universal healing energy he would come to call Reiki. When his mystical experience concluded, the sun was high in the sky. Mikao Usui came to the profound realization that the universe and the human body are one and the same, he is simultaneously both. Filled with elation, he began his descent down the mountain, sensing a newfound strength and energy. However, As he set off, he stubbed his toe on a rock and fell to the ground. Instinctively grabbing his toe with both hands, he witnessed the bleeding stop and the pain vanish, his first miracle. Having abstained from food for 21 days and feeling hungry, Usui stopped at an inn along the way and ordered a large Japanese breakfast. Despite the innkeeper warning against such a substantial meal after fasting, Usui consumed the entire breakfast without any adverse effects, his second miracle. The innkeeper's granddaughter, suffering from a toothache for several days, sought help from Usui. Placing his hands on her face, she immediately felt relief. She ran to her grandfather, declaring that Usui was no ordinary man, his third miracle. In the days that followed, Usui formulated the Reiki principles, drawing inspiration from the admonition of the Meiji Emperor, just for today, do not anger. Do not worry. Receive gratefully. Work honestly. And be kind to all. Soon after, he returned to the city of Kyoto, standing on a busy street corner with a flaming torch. People laughed, questioning why he had lit a torch in daylight. Usui responded that he was seeking those in need of healing, searching for the true light of life. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, as he traveled around Japan, teaching Reiki. In April 1922, Usui settled in Harajuku, Aoyama, Tokyo, and established the Usui Reiki Ryoho Gakkai, Association of Usui Reiki Therapy, with the aim of teaching Reiki therapy and providing treatments. People from far and wide sought Reiki therapy, and the organization played an active role in treating the injured after the Great Kanto earthquake struck in September 1923, claiming over 140,000 lives. Usui, deeply saddened by the devastation, personally traveled to the disaster area each morning to offer treatments. Over time, the number of branches of Usui Reiki Ryoho Gakkai throughout Japan grew to 60, and the count of his direct disciples exceeded 2,000. During a visit to Fukuyama, while giving a student attunement, Usui unexpectedly collapsed from his third cerebral hemorrhage, having treated himself successfully on 2 prior occasions. He passed away on March 9, 1926, at the age of 62. Before his passing, Usui attuned 19 of his students to the level of a master and assigned them the task of attunement for each branch. Among them was Dr. Chijiro Hayashi, a doctor and retired naval officer, who later trained Hoeo Takata, the individual credited with bringing Reiki to the West. Hoeo Takata, born in Hawaii to Japanese parents in 1900, faced numerous challenges in life, including the death of her husband at the age of 35 and subsequent severe physical problems. Seeking surgery in Japan, she had an unexpected encounter when, lying on the operating table, she heard a voice advising her that the operation was unnecessary. The voice instructed her to speak to the head surgeon, who introduced her to Reiki. Takata received daily treatments for 4 months at Hayashi's clinic and experienced complete healing. Astonished by the effectiveness of the treatments, she expressed her desire to become a practitioner, but societal norms in Japan at that time, especially for a woman born abroad, prevented her from pursuing this path initially. Hoeo Takata's persistence ultimately led to her acceptance into a 1-year internship at Hayashi's clinic in 1935. She was initiated into the 2nd degree of Reiki at the end of 1936 and reached the master level in 1938. As Hayashi's 13th and final master-level student, Takata established a clinic in Hawaii, making Reiki teachings available to the Western world. The rest, as they say, is history.